Hello, it's Lynn Watts here from Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books, and today I'm going to be talking about a couple of books by Todd Parr, one of my favorite authors, and if you're a school counselor, I'm guessing one of yours as well. Both of these are about anxiety, feeling afraid, feeling worried, that sort of thing, and these would be a good complement to a lesson on self-talk. If you happen to have my school counselor small group guide, all right, there is a lesson in here on growing in self-compassion, and it has to do with self-talk, learning to talk positive to yourself, how to change self-talk, that sort of thing. And because it's a group guide, it includes, of course, standards, objectives, and a icebreaker exercise that you can do with a group, and then you can guide them in talking about self-talk and how to use that to manage various emotions. But of course, I think one of the primary emotions that it's useful with is either worrying or feeling anxious or afraid. So the first book, which I have talked about in another video, is the I'm Not Scared book. And in this particular book, each one of the situations of being afraid, he gives a alternative. For instance, sometimes I'm scared of the dark. I'm not scared if I have a nightlight. So there's always some sort of coping mechanism or suggestion in terms of how to feel differently. Sometimes I'm scared on my first day of school. I'm not scared when I make new friends. So it would be easy to take the book, talk about ways that a student is feeling afraid or situations where they feel afraid, and then translate that into what could you do about it? How could you think differently? How could you talk differently to yourself? So the I'm Not Scared book by Todd Parr is certainly a good book for that. The other one, which he has done, which is somewhat similar, is the Don't Worry book. And of course, worrying is a little different than feeling afraid. It has more to do with anxiety about the future, what could potentially happen, and so on. So he talks again about some of the things that may cause a child to worry. Worrying happens when you think too much about a problem or feel afraid that something bad is going to happen. And then he goes on in his usual style with many of the different situations when you get sick or have to go to the doctor, when you're watching TV, when you're looking at screens too much. You might worry when someone is being loud, when you go to school, so on. So he gives lots of situations. And then he follows that up by giving a lot of suggestions in terms of strategies. When you worry, try doing something to keep yourself busy, like talking to someone special, taking deep breaths, reading a book. He has this classic wearing underwear on your head. I think he has that in almost every book to make kids laugh. Exercising is mentioned, which is certainly a way to handle worry that we often do not use as counselors. So and he kind of sums it up by saying worrying doesn't help you. If you're worried, talk to someone you love about it. It will make you feel better. So two very good books, I think, to begin talking about worry. And of course, then you can extend the lesson by having a child perhaps create their own worry book and make pictures about I worry when, and then come up with their own suggested solutions that they could try each time they feel worried. So a great conversation opener for talking about being scared or being worried or being anxious. And of course, the bright illustrations and some good suggestions in each one. So I hope that helps you as you work with students who are feeling anxious or afraid. And thanks as always for all that you do to improve the lives of children. And thanks for listening.